gonna show you how to make a cranberry bundt cake that is show-stopping and easy. Whoa, wow, whoa! Hey everybody, it's Natasha of natashaskitchen.com, and get excited because this is absolutely a holiday-worthy cake, and you'll love the fresh cranberries and the little bit of orange zest in this cake, and the glaze and the sugared cranberries. Everything about this is good, so let's get started. We're using a 12-cup 10-inch bundt pan, and this is a non-stick bundt pan, which I like because it releases easier. If you've never tried baking a cake in a bundt pan, you are gonna love it, and I will link to this pan in the notes. Make sure to generously butter the inside of the bundt pan, then dust all over with flour and tap out any excess flour. We're gonna set that prepared pan aside for now and preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. In a large mixing bowl, combine 3 large room temperature eggs with 2 cups of granulated sugar. We're gonna beat those together on high speed for about 3 minutes or until the mixture is thick and pale in color. To make this cake, you can use either the bowl of a stand mixer or an electric hand mixer. You can see how thick that mixture should be when you pull up on the whisk. This first step helps to dissolve the sugar into the egg, and it aerates the eggs to give this cake more rise. Now add 1/3 cup of oil, and I'm using a light olive oil, but you can also use canola. Once that's blended in, add 12 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. That butter should be melted and warm, but not hot. Once the butter is blended in, we're gonna add a full 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and I love using my homemade extract. It's super easy with just 2 ingredients, and I will link to that in the notes. Now last but not least, add 1 cup of room temperature buttermilk. The buttermilk adds moisture and amazing flavor to this bundt cake. Continue mixing just until it's incorporated, and now on to the dry ingredients. In a separate bowl, whisk together 3 cups of all-purpose flour and make sure to measure that correctly, along with a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of salt. Whisk those together until they're well combined, then add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients. Now mix that all together on low speed until it's well blended. You just want to ensure that you don't see any streaks of flour in the bowl. We're using 2 cups of fresh cranberries, and these have been rinsed and patted dry. Add half a tablespoon of flour and stir to coat. That little bit of flour helps keep the cranberries from sinking to the bottom. Gently fold those cranberries into your batter until well blended. And if you don't have fresh cranberries on hand, you can also use frozen, and there's no need to thaw them, or you can soak some dried cranberries and use them in this cake as well. You'll need 1 orange for this recipe. We're gonna add a tablespoon of fresh orange zest to the batter, then keep a little bit of the zest, and you'll need that fresh orange juice to make the glaze later. Adding the fresh zest will make all the difference in your cake and turns this into a cranberry orange cake. Give the batter one last stir to combine, then transfer it to your prepared pan. You can see this is a very thick and rich batter. Pour that evenly into your prepared pan. And use a spatula to get every last drop of that delicious batter. Now lightly smooth out the top, and we're gonna bake that in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 55 to 60 minutes. You can see the cake rises beautifully, and I love how those juicy cranberries burst in the batter. You'll know a bundt cake is done baking when you insert a lawn skewer or toothpick into the deepest portion of the cake, and it should come out mostly clean with maybe a few moist crumbs attached. Once the bundt cake is out of the oven, you want to let it rest and cool in the pan for 15 minutes. Now that pan will still be hot after 15 minutes, so use oven mitts for safety. We're gonna transfer that onto a wire rack. To help prevent cracks in the cake when inverting, place a rack over the top, then simply flip it over. If the cake doesn't release right away, you can tap it over the rack to help it release. Let the cake cool completely to room temperature before adding the glaze. Otherwise, if you try to glaze a warm cake, that glaze will melt and just run off the sides. You're gonna love how we make this glaze. It's really simple and really delicious. In a small bowl, combine 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. Then we're gonna add just a little bit of fresh orange zest. I'm using the same orange that we were using for the cake earlier. Also, you're gonna squeeze in 3 tablespoons of fresh orange juice. That's all there is to it. Now stir that in until it's really well combined. If you want your glaze to be a little bit thicker, you can add more powdered sugar, and if you want the glaze thinner, just add a little bit more orange juice, about a teaspoon at a time. You want that glaze to be pourable so that it can flow over the cake, but you don't want it too thin or it will just run off the cake and pool at the bottom. Alright, this looks like just the right consistency, and our cake has cooled down to room temperature, so we're going to transfer that cake onto a serving platter. Now spoon that glaze evenly over the top of your bundt cake. The glaze should run slowly and beautifully down the sides of the cake, and if you notice the glaze is too thin or too thick, it's not too late to fix it. Just add a little more powdered sugar or a little bit more orange juice to loosen it up. Once all of the glaze is on, it's ready to serve, but we do love to add some homemade sugared cranberries. I will leave a link to these in the notes. This recipe is super simple, takes just minutes to make, and they are edible. So delicious. These are quite a treat. We love the color and that they have a sparkle to them, so they make holiday desserts look really festive. While that glaze is still moist, arrange the cranberries over the top rim of the cake. That moist glaze will act as a glue to keep the cranberries on the cake. And if you have extra sugared cranberries, you can pile some in the center of the cake, which looks really pretty, especially when it's sliced, and arrange some around the outer border. These sugared cranberries are really a beautiful touch to this cake, and I love that they're edible. They are seriously addictive. I love how they crunch and pop with sweet, juicy cranberry flavor. I'm excited because I get to eat this now. It's almost too pretty to cut, but I'm still gonna do it because I want you guys to see what's inside. You're gonna love this texture and, of course, the juicy cranberries. All right, we're gonna do this. It's go time. Oh my goodness, you guys, look inside. This is just loaded with juicy cranberries. When they bake in the oven, they're just like bursting with flavor. You're gonna love this. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna love this because I'm going in for the taste test. All right. Wow, yum. I can already see how moist this is. And I can see the little bits of orange zest in here. Yum. Okay. I love that sweet and tangy contrast. Every time I get one of those cranberries, it's exciting. Oh, and then that glaze, it's so simple, don't skip it. And you'll love that little hint of orange zest in the glaze too. It just adds a ton of flavor. I know why America loves bundt cakes. They're so easy. And then also buttermilk in the batter makes this really moist. You'll love this texture. This is sure to become your new favorite cranberry bundt cake. Bundt cake? bundt cake. If you guys need more great holiday inspiration and recipes, check out some of our favorites right over there. And, ooh, don't miss that one right down there. And we'll see you in our next video. Now I'm gonna go eat this cake because it's good.